Hello and welcome to Round the Table with CulinArt. We're so happy to have you here. My name is Matt Santarpia. I'm the Director of Learning and Development for the company. Sitting right next to me is the man with the plan. I'm so excited for this. We have Ron Ehrhardt with us, Senior Vice President of Safety, Strategic Risks, and Growth. And through the power of Zoom, this is our Zoomcast, we have our district manager extraordinaire, Hilary Ham. Hi, Hilary.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is a special episode. We're talking about an eye on safety. We're continuing our series of reopening with intent and purpose. And we're going to talk about, from a corporate standpoint, everything we're doing right now to make sure our locations are reopening with safety as a top priority. I mean, especially now, and we're going to get into what that means to our operators, what that means to our corporate personnel, and what it means, most importantly, to our valued team members and to our guests at large. So this is very exciting for us. So I'd like to start first and foremost, Ron, and there's so much to cover. And again, I appreciate you being here in person. We are in person. We are not wearing masks. We have both been fully vaccinated. Yep. So let's start with that for a moment, Ron and Hilary. And let's talk about the vaccination progress that we're making and how you see that affecting our business.
Okay. Vaccinations should be encouraged. That all our associates have them. I mean, sometimes we have to, take some negative from people about the vaccinations and just tell the truth. Look, vaccinations are going to save lives.
And we encourage the vaccination process. We've been through it. We feel that it's a real way to get our business back on track. And Hilary, have you been vaccinated? I believe you have been too.
Yes, I have. I had my second vaccine on March 6th. So I'm totally done, saturated
You're right
here.
There. Wow, that's wonderful. So all three of us are part of that vaccine club, if you will. So Ron, how has COVID, in your opinion, affected and impacted our safety focus?
Great question, but it has majorly impacted our safety focus. Before COVID, right? Think about it. It's all about great food, great service, wellness, special promotions, keeping our guests happy. Now, both our customers and our guests, it's all about COVID-19 safety. So our management now, besides everything else they have to do, which is immense already, have to be experts in COVID-19. Okay, they have to be aware of the most current CDC protocols, and not only the CDC protocols, but what state and specific jurisdiction protocols, because they interpret CDC and they'll set their own protocols for that specific area, right? Now our managers need to know, hey, what's an exposure? What does exposure mean, right? Well, CDC says exposure means 15 minutes of combined time over a 24-hour period with a person who has been positive for COVID, okay? Now, in New York State, they say it's 10 minutes. So think about that. Managers got to be aware of this.
And they've got to have the most up-to-date information.
Correct.
The tools and resources that we'll be talking about today, whether it's Hilary, Ron, myself, that information, Ron, and you're involved with quite a bit of it, is the most up-to-date information for our industry.
It is. It is. Now, what we do in corporate safety is we try to interpret the new guidance, get it out to the field, okay? But at the end of the day, remember, there's the 3 C's for COVID-19. It's community first, meaning we go by the governance community, either state or local first. The second C is client. We go by their protocols. And then third really is our compass protocols. We follow it in that order, okay? And that's, if you always remember that, right? Even though there's a decision tree in Compass Group, remember, decision tree is compass. It's not what your specific location is in your region or state. It could be different protocols. You have to be aware. Now, if you have any questions, whatever, you reach out to your safety people, whether from corporate or from CulinArt, some great people, Shiv is always available. I'm always available. Matt, you have great people. Just, ask the questions, okay? We expect a lot from our managers, and especially now with COVID, we expect that much more.
As we prepare, and thank you, Ron, and I have a question for you, Hilary, as well, but as we prepare for this great return, I mean, this is what we're talking about. Not only kind of starting new business, but also reactivating business. All of the information, all the Compass Group, CulinArt, COVID-19 resources can be found on our coronavirus site, on My Compass, and on our CulinArt Group homepage on My Compass as well. Yep. Hilary, I want to ask you a quick question. You're unique for us because you've been doing kind of both. You're in the process now, Ron. She's opening accounts that have been dormant and that are reopening, but she also is opening up new business for us. So Hilary, seeing that COVID impact on how it's changed our focus, how have you dealt with that from a client level on your end?
Well, I mean, even just stepping back and saying our clients now, some of them are really focused into this and really have set in their mind the protocols they want to follow. Others are totally dependent upon us and need us to lead them and guide them. Some are a combination of that, but for most of the schools, the information that's available to us was just amazing. So I was, able to work with that, put together proposals, plan out entire openings right down to where the arrows on the floor go, our procedures and our guidelines, and share that with them. And they were using that at their locations too, because they didn't even know where to start during this whole COVID thing. And also in the past year, it's made other opportunities available to us. I've had clients coming to me in the past year asking us, in the past year, our facilities or our pest control or, these vendors didn't take care of what we needed them to. Who do you recommend? Who could we get in here? So we're fielding a lot of calls with, it's for business with our current vendors or our other sectors. We've been able to include them. And as Compass, and we're all working as a big, as a big company, as a big group together, and everybody's jumped in on this. So that's been wonderful, being able to refer them to others. Some clients.
That's a great resource.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Super
part
detailed.
of being part of this family of companies, right? We hear about it, but this is what that means. That means sharing of resources and staying ahead of the curve.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. We were able to say, just recently at the one KO that reopened, they came to us and said, look, our pest control, he was terrible during the last year. He didn't show up. He didn't come. Who do you have? Who could you recommend? So, I mean, we were able to jump right in there and, and recommend purveyors and, people that we could. So you just have to be open to everything now. These clients are coming to you with a lot of questions. Same thing with a lot of things Ron's going to hit on is the cleaning and that has to happen in these facilities. When you reopen, there's a lot of stuff. So you really have to have a plan. You have to be working with your client and their maintenance and their engineers. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Some of your equipment might not even be working.
No, and that is kind of the nitty gritty, if you will, of what we'll get into. How do we demonstrate our COVID safety procedures and our commitment to safety for our guests, our customers, and Ron, our team members?
Very important question. More so now than ever before, we have to demonstrate the highest level of COVID-19 safety, and I call it safety caring for our customers and our staff, right? We have to exhibit even higher levels of overall sanitation, okay? It's always been big before, but now it's even bigger. Now, along with sanitizing, we still have to disinfect those high-touch surfaces, right? Both in front of house, but also in back of house. Remember, there's break rooms, there's offices, things like that, okay? Even though the CDC has kind of taken a step back on the disinfecting, we still believe in Compass that you have to continually disinfect the high-touch surfaces, both for our customers and our guests and our associates. The disinfecting also in the front of house needs to be visible. Our customers need to see us doing it. It makes them feel like they have trust in the operation, okay? And I'm also gonna go one step further, the safety commitment. Mask compliance, 100%. A lot of states are not, a couple of states have recently said that they don't care if people wear masks in the state or not. Compass accounts in those states, we wear masks, okay? We're still doing social distancing protocols in all operations, both and front of house. So I mean, that's how I think we have to demonstrate that clean, sanitary, disinfecting, safe environment that our clients and guests feel comfortable going into.
And visibly, you know, you heard Ron mention this a few times, Hillary, and I'm going to ask you too, because you're doing that at the account level, but visible safety standards. Listen, as a hospitality company, we've always had strong safety standards. This is nothing new. But now, Ron, to your point, and to our managers and our team members throughout CulinArt and Compass Group listening, now more than ever, it must be visible to our guests and our partners. They have to see and feel confident in what we're doing. Hillary, what are some things that you're doing at the account level to make sure our team members know that they must be visible?
Well, I mean, the most important thing that we should be doing and that we are doing at all our units is our pre-service meetings. The visual of the clients and the customers seeing us meeting with our staff daily to review these things, that creates a huge impact. They know we're talking about it. They know we're reinforcing it. They know the staff is being kept well informed of what's going on. So we just really have to keep addressing this to our staff and every day.
Ron, what are some key safety items as we start the reopening that we should be focusing on?
Okay, there's a lot of them. And actually, we're going to have a new Compass Reactivation Checklist coming out in the very near future. We've improved it. It's going to be not just about facilities and food safety. It'll be workplace safety, food safety, and COVID safety on one reactivation checklist.
On one form.
On one form.
Wow.
That's going to also have it's going to be in 3 different stages, like pretty much, you know, your first day in a unit that was shuttered, then your first week, then the first month. We want to give our managers around Compass a really good roadmap, okay, and plan for reopening. And the good news is that this plan to follow will keep people safe and keep our guests and customers safer from COVID. So a couple of things that will be on a reactivation checklist. First of all, think about this. If you have a closed unit or your licenses and permits still valid, okay, that's something that, you know, some places have been closed for a year.
Sure.
Okay, got to make sure they're all valid. Is all the required PPE, right, and new disinfectants for COVID, are they available and on the site? Are the COVID-19 protocols in place, okay, for checking temperatures and social distancing and plexiglass for the registers, things like that? Here's an easy one. Are all the utilities still working? You know, you got to walk around here. The hot water, right? Hot water, there's a temperature there. You need 110 degrees for your ware washing, 100 degrees for your hand sinks. Here's another one. What about all your services, your trash, grease removal, pest control, equipment repair and maintenance, hood cleaning? Has those services been reactivated?
And it seems that, Ron and Hillary, these items that you're mentioning, which are available on our reopening checklist, available on My Compass, on all our tools and resources, you know, these items, we need to address them sooner rather than later. So for our operators who are watching and saying, well, I'm not opening for 4 weeks, or I'm not opening for a month and a half, let me tell everyone, that is here, right? We are right now in the midst of this process. So you're not late, but doing it now is probably a good idea, am I right?
Absolutely. The earlier you get ahead, the better. And you could actually look at the reactivation checklist and see those things on there and get ahead of it. The better ahead you get, the easier it's going to be to open. A couple more things too that are very important. Since operations have been shut down for even a year, your fire suppression and cell systems are probably outdated already. Should be inspected and make sure they're working every 6 months. Water lines need to be flushed. Are the fire extinguishers still good? They're still showing in the green that they can be used in case of emergency. And here's a real important thing, right? Training. We may not be able to bring back all our great associates that were furloughed and laid off, okay? So we may have to bring back a lot of new great associates, right? So we have to make sure we have time for training. And there's a lot of safety trainings that have to be done. It's the Dining Associate Workplace Safety Orientation Training. It's HAZCOM. It's BBP. Okay, it's allergen training. Okay, the training I cannot emphasize enough. It has to be planned. It has to be executed. Because if you don't train before you open, people are going to get hurt and they're going to have accidents.
Yeah, you're going to have a problem. What we do at CulinArt Group, and I know other companies do that as well within the Compass Group family, is we have a strategic learning plan. So Ron, you helped us create that. So we break out our managers and our hourly team members, and we know, point by point,
Right,
what training that needs to be done before we start the business reactivation process, because, quote unquote, having that robust training is an integral part of how we open. I mean, we can't do it otherwise. And those resources, the nice thing is that they're laid out for you. So that's a nice thing, and they're easily digestible, right? Hilary, how do you engage that strategic learning plan with your account managers and your team members? Remember, with our specific eye on safety.
Exactly the items that Ron was talking about before, making sure you have your PPE in-house, making sure, new uniforms. People have been out for a year, they're not going to have their uniforms, so you need to pretty much start from ground zero there. Also, as Ron was speaking about before, getting these things done, keep in mind that your vendors have also experienced this past year. They've scaled back in staff. They don't have the current personnel. So things take longer than they used to take to
good
get
point.
things done. Just,
Well said.
even with machines, some of them have availability now of the touch list, but it takes a while to get the stuff. You have to order it, and it takes weeks to get some of the stuff in. We're not getting the same response time with our vendors as we did in the past because, it's pandemic. So keep that in mind. Don't wait for the last minute on anything. All your current posters and signs that are hanging in a kitchen maybe for the past year that's been closed. One unit we just went in, we ripped everything down to replace it. It had mold on it. It was dirty.
Right,
So,
you have to look through a fresh eyes approach.
Everything. You need to replace everything. Make sure your managers and your people coming back have their serve safe. We're discovering that too. We're bringing people back up and they're like, oh, it expired. So you have to look at everything.
One item that we never, ever want to forget about is that tie-in with our client or our partner, as I mentioned a few moments ago. What are some of those client involvement procedures, Ron and Hilary? And we'll start with you, Ron, that we should highlight.
Okay, I think Hilary also gave some good points about the new opening she was involved with, right? So the client kind of there, in that example, kind of leaned on us for guidance, okay? But I think a lot of our accounts, I think that use the word partnership before. It has to be a partnership for us to either reopen or even open a new facility, right? If right now, if a client wants us to open in 2 weeks, right? Are we going to say yes or no? If we can't open, I think we have to have the intestinal fortitude to tell that client, we can't reopen so quickly because here's the reason why. Educate them. Okay. Don't be pushed to opening when we're going to not be able to do it safely, not be able to do it right, and do it proudful. Okay. Another thing, facility support, right? I think a lot of what I see in around when I tour is, are we getting the right facility support from our clients? Is the plumbing fixed? Is the ceiling in good shape? Are they handling the equipment maintenance for us? Or our equipment working? Okay, because if we don't have a great equipment and a foundation of a functioning kitchen, how can we open safely and do it right? I mean, also one more thing. Who's doing the disinfecting, let's say, of the common areas in your seating area? Is it us or is it the client? And who also provides the sanitizer in certain areas? Is it us or the client? So again, it's that partnership and having an agreed upon, quote unquote, scope of who does what. I think for these reopenings, it'll make the openings much more successful.
Be honest with your client, be upfront with them, go to them immediately if you have a case in the kitchen or if your cook's mother's cousin has it. The more, just give them the information. Some of them, some clients might overreact to it. but I haven't found it to be that way. They've all, in the very beginning, it was very tense and, the pressure was high and everybody was terrified. That's calmed down over the past year. But now it seems the clients, they just want the information. They want to make sure you're communicating with them and you work with them and you're responding to things. They just want to see the procedures and what you're doing. So just be honest and upright with whatever's going on. Keep them informed.
Hilary, how have you found that client interaction? I mean, everything Ron said just now with that, whether it's dormant or new business, so important.
Pretty positive so far. Everybody's, staying right on top. I mean, you've been closed for a year. So when you first walk in, and I mean, we've known we've been closed for a year. So we've been keeping an eye on some of those things that expire. We know that the grease traps weren't clean since last year. So these were all things we've been giving the client a heads up on already in the past few months, saying, don't forget, before we get going, we need all this. So our clients have been great so far. They've been taking care of these items. We've actually, in a few instances, that has led us to bring in some of our maintenance, or our vendors to come in to do equipment surveys on the whole kitchen, because the client at this point realizes we might need some outside help and their facilities may not be able to handle all
So
of
you've
it.
had very positive results dealing with
Yeah.
the client. And again, letting them know ahead of the time is very important, right?
No doubt.
I mean, the sooner the better. What are some items, Ron and Hilary, and we can start with you, Ron, in closing, that we've learned from going through this year? And what are we looking for towards the future?
Yeah, I'll kick it off, like you said. I think I want to handle this more or less from a kind of a mental health and staying positive way. So here's the thing. COVID-19 is going to be around for the foreseeable future, right? Avoid the fatigue that you can get from it. Take care of yourself. Eat a little healthier. Get your exercise. Do some things that make you happy. I don't care if it's meditating, yoga, whatever. Take care of yourself. It's been a stressful year for all of us, okay? Again, make lists. I tell you what, we're all so busy. We're all doing more with less. Make those lists. I use mine every day. And what I'm also doing is I'm using my calendar more to make sure that I don't miss key dates on things. That's another advice to everybody.
I think that's a great best practice. I've been doing that since we've had electronic calendars.
Remember, it's a team effort. We have a great support team above us and around us and with us that's put together all the tools we need to make this happen. Reach out. Don't feel overwhelmed. Don't try to do it yourself. There's just too much to do when reopening. Ask for help. Ask for support. My district has been great with supporting each other, the managers reaching out to each other and supporting each other as we move along and reopen. Share best practices, share ideas. One account can do something really well, then they share it with somebody else. So it's communication, asking for help. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed. Just, we're all going through this. We all want to support you. We all want to succeed at this. And it's all new to us. So we're all in the same boat.
You want to ask early and ask often. That's terrific. Yeah. What are the most cited areas that our managers should be looking for? What are the big areas, Ron? We're lucky to have you that you can say, guys and gals, this is what you should be looking at first.
Okay, believe it or not, the top cited item on all the safety assessments throughout Compass is, does the unit have an active safety committee that meets monthly? And you would think that'd be an easy one to do because safety committees are great. They can help drive safety for you. Okay, they can watchdog safety and it helps build empowerment for your team. But that's the top cited item around a company. And the second one, which is actually concerning, is that a lot of our associates, second cited item is they haven't gone through the Dining Associate Workplace Safety Orientation training annually like they have to. So those are the top two items throughout all of Compass.
I want to thank you, Hilary Ham, for joining us.
Yes.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Hilary.
And all
Thanks
your
for having me.
support. Special thanks to our friend Ron for being here today.
You're quite welcome.
We appreciate it. We do see brighter days ahead. Once again, this is Matt Santarpia. This has been Round the Table with CulinArt Group, our focus on safety. We appreciate your time and support. If you have any questions, we love your feedback. and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Stay safe.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.